Welcome to Spitbucket. This week I'm very, very pleased to have Richard Friend, Director of Pokolbin Estate Wines with us. Welcome, Richard.
Thanks very much.
Tell us a little bit about Pokolbin.
Okay, well, Pokolbin Estate has a bit of an interesting background. The vineyard was first planted in the 1840s. However, the vineyard we've got there now was planted in 1970. In the intervening years, there's a few cows and cattle running around. So. But that makes the vineyard 40 years old, and it's a good basis for producing good fruit to make good wine.
You're known for your quality wines. I mean,
well, that's what we've been focusing on. We're only a small producer, so because we're small, everything has to be absolute tops.
Yeah.
So we're producing small quantities of high quality, or as they call it in the trade, super premium wines.
Super premium wines. That is the core. That is the core philosophy of the estate itself. Is the best fruit, small production, richness, and intense, and it's showing through in the wines that, I mean, you're a multi-award winner across the range.
Well, we've been having a lot of success lately.
Yeah.
But you're quite right. There's been no expense or effort spared in producing the best fruit in the vineyard, and then using the best winemakers available in the Hunter to make our wine for us.
Well, I think it's a great introduction to trying it, actually, because I've been looking forward to doing so. I've heard so much about this wine. So you can take me through the aspects that I should be considering, and right away you can just see the colour. That's such a pure, pale straw.
It's a classic Riesling style, the style I believe we should be and are making predominantly in Australia.
What makes Riesling so good on your estate? What have you? I mean, obviously the quality of the fruits there. Does the actual grape itself? Does it take to the sunshine? Is it the soil? What is it?
Okay, now this is how we read it at the moment. We're in a warm climate, not a cool climate area, but our vineyard is grown along a creek line, and it's one of the lowest vineyards in the Hunter Valley, and we're at the base of the Broken Back mountain range. So what we think happens is that during the summer, every morning the cool air from the Broken Back range drifts down the escarpment and scuttles its way through our Riesling vineyard.
To the vineyards itself.
Yeah, so the Riesling's getting a beautiful wash of cool, fresh air every morning all through summer. And we think that's what's producing these very refined Riesling grapes.
That sounds perfect.
Well, we believe it. We can't put it down anything else. It's just...
I want to move there. That sounds great.
We've got to try a bit, I suppose.
So you've got a beautiful colour. On the nose?
Yeah, on the nose, getting limes and lemons. But
there's also a touch of mineral.
Yeah, there is, and there's sort of a blossomy overtone to it, and to us, it's just like the the blossoms of lemon and lime. Now, this wine just wasn't like a one-off fluke. Every year, consistently, we're making a Riesling of this style. It doesn't get out into the marketplace that often, so not many people know about it.
Yeah, Richard, that's no fluke at all.
No, I had no trouble selling it, as you can imagine.
That's a stunning wine.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, it's not the first time this wine off this vineyard has won a trophy in the New South Wales Wine Awards. About 4 years ago, it won the Mature White Trophy, which is the first time I think has ever been won by a wine other than the Hunter Semillon. So once again, it created a lot of interest.
It's such a clean wine, a beautiful clean flavours to it.
And the beauty of this wine is we weren't going to release it, we're going to keep it, but because they've got the trophy, everybody knows of it now, so we have to sell it, and you can only sell it once, so we're pleased.
So you first did your first batch of Riesling came through when? I'm saying the first harvest. When did you put them in first?
Well, the vineyard was planted in 1970, not by us.
Okay.
Okay, we came along in 1987, so we've been there just on 25 years.
So how have you seen your Rieslings age? I'm intrigued.
Well, these Rieslings like this will age.
Yeah.
A wine like this, particularly under screw cap, I'd expect...
Well, this style of Riesling, certainly.
Yeah, I'd expect 10 to 20 years wouldn't be a problem with it.
No.
In fact, last Sunday we had an English Master of Wine at the vineyard specifically to look at this wine, and I opened a 2000 vintage out of our museum, and it was just in such perfect condition he couldn't believe it. So the wines will age, and they've always been good.
And when they age, the features of an aged Riesling from your vineyard, what would they be?
Okay.
How would you describe it?
you retain the freshness,
Yeah.
a reasonable degree of crispness. The wine starts to get a yellowy
A patina, yeah.
tinge to it,
Yeah.
and it starts to pick up this honey type effect,
Beautiful.
like you do get with aged Hunter Semillons,
Yeah.
which it's really quite amazing.
I was just wondering, I was just wondering whether that was going to show the same synergies in the aging process.
they're not exactly the same, but it's drifting down that same path. Yeah. It's,
Well, you mentioned Semillon, so I think that's what we're going to try next.
okay.
With your Semillons, are you finding the Stelvin is not retarding it, is slowing down the aging process?
Now, what we all think is happening with Semillon, with aging, say you get a 2010, at 2 years' time, the flavour profile goes off like this.
Yeah.
It hops along the
Goes
bottom.
through a sick period.
That's right. It comes up again and moves on. Well, we're still getting that with Stelvin, but what's happening there? You're not getting the big drop off. So okay, it bottoms out a little bit, but then it comes back inside the same time frame. But it's not. You can still drink it, if you know what I mean. But whereas the cork ones, you really got to put them aside for a couple of years. Yeah, if you're keeping them. Yeah.
It's an interesting because it's a wine that. Well, its mystique, part of its mystique is that aging process. That was always going to be my, with Stelvin cap on Semillon, I always wondered whether you're going to continue that aging process.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We've been putting Stelvin out since 2003 or 4, I think it is, and the wines are just stunning. You know,
Let's try it.
Okay.
Let's go. So Richard, tell us about this one.
Yeah, what we're pouring now is the 2009 Bray. And the name Bray it comes from one of our vineyard managers, they're viticulturalists. We make two styles of Semillon. We make a traditional early pick style that's steely and acid, and it really reaches its peak when it's about at least 10 years old.
Sure.
But we've found that the public now wants something a bit more approachable, so we do a second one, and it's what we call the Phil Swinell Semillon.
Okay, so Bray.
Bray's a drink now one, yeah.
Drink now, let's find out. That's got that, passion fruits and gooseberries and on the nose, it's just a lovely nose, isn't it?
Well, we've been quite surprised with the style because we've always expected the traditional style would be the one that the judges and the wine shows would always like. Well, since we brought this one out, we just can't believe the results we're getting in the show circuit and comments by people like Halliday. Like this wine here, for example, that we're drinking right now, Halliday rated at 96 points.
96?
Yeah, and that's about as high as you sort of get to with white wine ratings. So he occasionally hands out a 97, but they're pretty rare. So apart from a top rating by James Halliday, in the last 2 months that wine has won 2 trophies and 3 or 4 gold medals at some major shows.
Honestly,
so.
Just from the colour on the nose, and the colour's that beautiful, just yellow, just a deeper straw colour, but the nose is gorgeous. It's just so approachable.
Well, what you're getting with this style of winemaking is this pristine colour. You get this great clarity, and as a result, you get that pure taste in your mouth. Because a wine like that, if there's anything wrong with the winemaking, it'll show up in the wine straight away.
Yeah. There's an interesting question our viewers will have is, what food types would you match the Semillon to, this Semillon?
You're into delicate seafoods because the wine basically is fairly delicate, and the obvious match is always oysters.
Yeah.
But prawns.
I'd see it as being, again, Semillon and prawns.
Yeah.
Just beautiful.
Prawns and oysters and that wine there
is ideal.
Yeah. And if you get an aged one with a bit more colour, a bit more developed flavour, you can have that with fish and slightly more strong.
Whereas your Riesling, your magnificent Riesling, I see that as being just oysters, and that would be just a marriage made in heaven.
It is. It's got oysters written all over it, hasn't it? You don't need anything else.
No. You just want a truckload of oysters and bottles of these, and I think you'd die happy. That is just magnificent. Please try to find it, try to track it down, and sign up again to your mailing list. Or
yes, we've got a wine club and mailing list, and the Vineyard.
If you missed out on this year's release, get in line, sign up for it, and then start tracking down your oysters, because you're in for an experience. Okay, that's it for the whites. So we'll do the reds shortly. From this episode of Spitbucket, remember, we spit so you don't have to.